He's a true American hero, you know, and how this piece of history sort of slipped through the cracks. I went to a historically black college, learned a lot about my culture. I can't believe I've never heard about this. You know, when I read the book, and really when I got to meet him, and then those conversations started happening, and we started to go even underneath the surface of what motivated him to pursue this. When he saw the film too, like knowing he was going to go see it, I was so anxious and I was nervous because I really cared what he thought, you know, because I wanted to honor this man the best way I could.
You captured the 25-year-old essence of me very well. You know, I was very proud of him. I am proud of him and proud of the performance he gave. He is Ron Stallworth. Talking on the phone, pretending to be a white supremacist with my sergeant sitting there listening, and he's falling out of his chair laughing and gagging because he couldn't catch his breath, turning red in the face, running out of the office to compose himself, coming back in, hearing me still pretending to be a white supremacist. He'd run out of the office again because he was laughing so hard, and then I would start laughing at him. This whole thing was like a Saturday Night Live skit, but it had a very serious overtones to it because these guys believed in the ideology of white supremacy. Any undercover work is dangerous, no matter the subject matter. When you're dealing with people who are known to carry guns, who are violent prone, and in some cases are willing to exhort to violence, when you go undercover with people like that, you're always put in a position of danger. What I did undercover is very much like what he did. I was acting. I was pretending to be somebody else, except I was doing it over the phone. I didn't have Spike Lee to tell me to say cut and then move to the next scene.
Right. You're risking your life, man.
Yeah. If I made a mistake, I had the risk of somebody pulling a gun on me and taking it from there. That's the biggest difference between undercover work and acting in a movie.
Yeah, even if I'm not facing like death, like head on my work, you know. I mean, the importance of getting this, I won't even say right, but getting it true to this man and what he was going through. I didn't want to try to emulate or imitate. I wanted to inhabit his spirit. And it was something about the exchange of the card when he showed the membership card, remember, the table read? That sort of was like the portal to his soul, and he let me have it for a couple months, and I really appreciated that.
This is the card, the real card that you see in the film. All this information is on the card that you see in the film. You know, they duplicated it exactly.
He believed in the mission. You know, you kept saying, I'm doing my job. You know, he was also very honest about the support he received, that you received on the assignment, which was surprising. It wasn't just like one black man, one mission, you know, all by himself, you know, and I thought that was a huge takeaway, was the support that you did receive as well to accomplish this.
People are basically good, but you will always have that small percentage that fall into the category of these Klansmen and other white supremacists. You have to be willing to confront racism head on. You have to be willing to tackle the issue of white supremacy, white dominance. You're not going to eliminate it, but you can control it and not allow it to seep forth like it has happened since certain gentlemen took control of the White House. We have to be willing to unite and address this problem wherever it rears its ugly head.
You know, I don't think you were born learning how to hate someone that looks different from you. You know what I mean? That this is what you were taught. And this sort of language, you know, it's generational. That's what I'm saying too, and the film kind of ties that in. I mean, yes, it's a period piece, but it has this sort of familiar, contemporary feel and rhythm to it. And that's why this makes this case so significant. The words that this man had to use to welcome hate, to get invited by hate. You know, I'm not even calling the organization to get invited by hate, but it worked. You know what I mean? And like you talked about certain trigger words. These are words that are still happening and being used today.
Every time we move forward, we seem to fall into a period where we take 2 steps back. During the 8 years of Obama, there were not marches openly expressed like we saw in Charlottesville going on around the country with the alt-right. These guys were there. We had a moral conscience in the White House who was expressing his contempt as the leader of this nation. He was expressing his contempt for actions like that. In comes the idiot imbecile that occupies the White House now. And he gives his wink and a nod at his statement at Charlottesville about equivalency on both sides. There was no equivalency. You cannot equate a white supremacist to peaceful marchers. When you have that lack of a moral conscience, things like this are going to erupt to the surface, but hopefully it will end. But right now we have to endure, and that's why I say we as a community of people need to unite and be willing to stand up to this and fight against it, as opposed to sitting idly by and letting it go on beside us because we're ashamed or afraid to talk about race.
And that's what I hope this film will do, like get people talking about it. But we got to find that connective language, the love language that can, bridge the gap.
Groups like the Klan are always dangerous. And when I was talking on the phone to these knuckleheads in my investigation, they were talking about committing violent acts, and yet they were telling each other, the Klan is not violent, we are the new Klan. We don't believe in violence. There's no rhyme or reason to these idiots. They exist, and we need to recognize they exist and do what we can to stop it.
Well, I mean, the language that's used in this film, I mean, it's harsh. This is the language that was used then in real life, and this is how it's used right now in today's world. I was watching it in France. I felt embarrassed for my country, and this is a period piece. I wasn't even alive then, and I'm like, I'm embarrassed for my country. I was there to service the film and to hopefully inspire others the way this real American hero inspired me to even take this role on.
I don't feel like a celebrity. I don't feel I was a hero or am a hero. I don't feel what I did was heroic. I appreciate the honor, but I don't feel that way. I had a job to do, and I did my job. I came to work every day. I scanned the newspapers. I looked for stuff that might be of interest. And on this particular day, something jumped out at me, and I responded to it. There was nothing heroic about it. It was just a job.
You kept your community safe, though, from these people, from these animals. Right?
But that, too, was my job. Stop picking on me.
Okay. I just had to say that, but you're right.